Hi guys, so this week we're looking at movement and we're looking at the movement through the thoracic spine. The T-spine is essentially from the bottom of the neck to the bottom of the rib cage. So the thoracic spine makes up the portion of the spine that's attached to the rib cage, and the main function of that structure is to give you stability in the upper portion of the trunk. However, a lot of people don't move enough from the thoracic spine, and being sat down all day hunched forwards end up kind of curving forwards into a kyphosis, a curve in the upper back, when in reality, whilst we want stability from the thoracic, we also want to be able to move. So we should have some movement through flexion and extension and through rotation, and that'll help your performance in the gym and also being pain-free day to day as well. So being able to get the movement from the thoracic is really important, because whilst we don't want to move a lot there, we do want to move a little bit, and ideally we're moving a little bit from a lot of different places rather than relying on a hinge point and moving a lot from one single place, which is more likely to create overuse or a stress response there. So generally, if people don't move well through the thoracic, you'll find that there's a hinge point in somewhere in the lumbar, or sort of where the thoracic meets the lumbar spine, and they end up arching too much. Whereas ideally, if we can get a bit of movement through there, that'll help your squats, that'll help deadlifting, that'll help pressing, and also looking forwards to building mobility for bodyweight training, it'll really help with that as well. Here's a daily movement practice that'll help you to build and maintain mobility through the thoracic spine. Basically, because of the shape of the spinous process, which is a long pointy bit on the vertebra through the thoracic, it can be quite hard to get extension. But a lot of people, they don't know how to dissociate this region from the hinge point that a lot of people have just below. So when they try and lift the chest up and extend the thoracic, they actually end up just flaring the rib cage. So a really nice drill to get used to just active control through that is if you just sit down on a bench, which will help to eliminate lumbar flexion. Just imagine drawing the fingers in and flexing through the spine, and then lifting up and extending through the upper back, but without the rib cage flaring up too much. So we're trying to keep that pinned down and just move from the upper back. So in, draw right into the chest, and then lift that through. When people do this, a lot of the time, they'll actually compensate and just use the shoulders to try and get that movement, because again, they don't know how to use just this portion here. So just make sure you're actually trying to get the movement from the spine, and the spine's actually curving there. And this is a really good one to do if you're sat at a desk or driving or sat down for a long period of time, just to get that little bit more movement through the upper back. Other than daily movement, what we can look to do is incorporate some additional mobility work for the thoracic, which will help to open up the range there and build active control. The first of the three exercises that we're going to go through is the thoracic rotation. And as you can see, we're sliding the bottom arm through, trying to create as much rotation through the thoracic as possible, and then rotating back around and just opening right up through the chest, opening up through the back, and looking over the shoulder up at the ceiling to create as much rotation through that upper back as possible. Next, we've got the thoracic extension with shoulder extension. So we've got the arms behind, and we're actually opening up into the shoulders here as well, whilst trying to work through the thoracic. So we're just going to go for a 30-second hold there and gently trying to increase that range, followed by some pulses up and down through the thoracic, where we're just trying to get as much movement in through flexion and extension as possible there. Last but not least, we've got the thoracic extension with shoulder flexion. So this is a great exercise if you're trying to improve your overhead range for handstands and other bodyweight skill work. And we're just looking at pushing the hands and the hips as far apart as possible, and then dropping the chest down. One thing to be aware of here is not letting your shoulders internally rotate. So we're trying to maintain some external rotation, otherwise we're going to get blocked by the upper traps. So just focus on really trying to push through and lengthen through the spine, and then dropping the chest towards the floor to get that extension through. I hope you guys have found that video useful. If you have, then please like and share it, and also check out the Bodyweight Strength website, which is now live at bodyweight-strength.co.uk.